Alright, so what's up guys? So we are out here on another run. Out here doing this craziness for all you guys. Just simply sit back, watch, admire, and enjoy. Okay. So now for you are probably thinking about your fitness game, right? Improving it, leveling up, and in particular, your fitness is going to have to do a lot with your muscles. And that's probably the first thing that comes to mind when you or anyone thinks fitness, right? They think of a guy, you know, curling a dumbbell or bench pressing a huge ton of weight, right? Somebody incredibly muscular, right? Who is able to lift these heavy objects with ease. And you know, for you, don't really worry about it so much, because we are going to give you 4 tips in order to build your muscle. And tip number 1 is pretty obvious, that it's going to come from the weight lifting, right? If you have that aspect down, your muscle, you know, is going to come, right, regardless, because essentially that's what you need to do, right? Fatigue that muscle, break it down, tear it down, destroy it, so it can return. But when it returns, it will come back stronger, right, and bigger, right, better able to handle that weight, build that muscle mass, right? Because that muscle mass is going to enable you to move those bones and joints within your body, right? And essentially improve them, right? Improve your performance right in that area of strength. And you know, per se, right? So many people, you'd be surprised, they think that people can have these big, huge muscular bodies without really touching any weights, or doing any heavy lifting. And you know, that's quite foolish, right? Because they may believe that people have great top tier genetics, right? They were born like that, and that it's not fair, right? That they were born big boned, so therefore they can't really accumulate or really see the muscle, you know, in their bodies. And that's quite foolish, because for one, you can't control your genetics. All you can control is how you use them, right? How you put, you know, those gifts, right? And some may be, you know, perceived as curses, unfortunately, but how you put them to work, right? In the gym or the park, if that's where you work out, right? Not everyone has to work out in a gym per se, where you have so many options, so much flexibility in regards to your muscle building activities. So therefore, you know, by virtue, you have to go and lift something, right? Put your body through that strain, break that homeostasis that is trying to constantly achieve. But if your homeostasis is defined as you doing nothing in regards to your weight training, and you're essentially going about your business like that, your homeostasis is going to keep yourself just like that. But all of a sudden, if you start throwing on some heavy weight, lifting it, your body's going to freak out and want to make adjustments. But those adjustments are going to come in the form, you know, building that muscle, right? So tip number 2, in regards to building, you know, your muscles specifically, is, you know, I would say to avoid so much cardio, right? Because essentially people who want to get these big, huge, massive bodies may want to do these cardiovascular activities, right? Like we are doing now. But you have to realize that there comes a certain point to where activities like running, biking, swimming, right, doing all these different activities for prolonged periods of time especially, are going to cause you know, catabolization of the muscle. And forget that word, but essentially what's going to happen is your muscle is going to start eating itself, right? And when it eats itself, it shrinks and disappears, right? In order to enable yourself, you know, to finish those cardiovascular activities, right? Because if you come to think about it, in order to transport yourself when you're running, when you're biking, when you're swimming, it's only to get smaller, right? Shrink, get thin, right? It works, right? Because it gets you to your destination faster, right? There's less weight moving around, right? Weight that you would need to lift weight. So you're trying to build muscle, you don't really want to do so much cardio, right? Because it's going to set you back, right? You can still do it, but establish a healthy balance. Right? Don't do too much of the other, right? One or the other. Too much weight training or too much cardio if you want to be like us. But if you want to simply just build that muscle mass, you can pretty much forego that cardio all together. So think about that, and you will be on your way to building that muscle mass, which so many people aspire to do. They want to build it, get it stronger. If you build it, they will come, right? Whether maybe those girls or, you know, respect, admiration from your bro friends, girlfriends, whatever friends, hey, that's what you want, and that's going to come with building that muscle mass. So tip number 3 in regards to essentially building that muscle mass is it's going to come, you know, through protein, but essentially because in order to formulate those muscles, your body needs a certain fuel, and that fuel is protein, right? Because when you break them down, those muscles in particular, you need to build them back, and the main ingredient to do so, just like gasoline for a car to move itself, like you see so many of these different vehicles around us, that fuel is protein, right? That's going to formulate these chemical bonds within our body and enable us, especially when we sleep, right, when we're recovering from our workouts, right, not before as much as after, right, in that phase, in order to rebuild itself, right, and rebuild those muscles bigger, faster, stronger, right? And you don't necessarily have to, I would even call it OD on, you know, protein shakes, right, through those protein powders, protein bars, right? It's not so much about that, right, but just essentially adding it to your diet through eating, you know, a bunch of those meats and essentially foods that you can develop in order to gain it, right? So essentially think about it, right? Think about ways you can accumulate that protein in order to, as we are about to get hit by a car that does not see us for the light of day. It's all good, it's all fine, dandy. So we make our way through, but as we recover, we will talk to you about tip number 4 in regards to building your muscle, getting big. And we would boil it down to sleep, right? Because what happens when you sleep, right, not just dreams, possibly nightmares, oh my gosh, right, but while you're asleep, your body rebuilds itself, right, and rebuilds your muscles, right, those that you tore down throughout the day, hopefully right through your workout, had, you know, some protein to give yourself the juice to rebuild. Now it's time for your body to start running those processes it needs to do in order to, you know, have you develop that muscle. And it's going to come in your sleep. Right? People may, you know, common misconception is after people work out, they appear bigger, right, instantly. And, you know, it's simply just the muscle pump. Right? It's just the blood flowing through your body. Right? It's like a temporary event of like an hour, 2 hours, right? It's not growth, but it's essentially just a bunch of blood gushing through your muscles, right, when they're being used. So, and at any other point in the day, when you're not even using your muscles, I don't even think you would believe that they would come and spurt out of nowhere, right? So you have to think about getting a quality sleep, right? One that's uninterrupted, one with plenty of what we call REM sleep, right? And essentially, in that phase of sleep, right, it's a phase, right, it's a portion of it. And what's going to happen is you're probably going to dream vividly, right? Not just dream, but have vivid images, right? The stories that you might wake up and remember, right? Most of, if not all of. And essentially, what's happening is that your body is shutting itself down physically, right? Being in control, you know, of those autonomic processes, right? And one of them is, thankfully, your muscle building sequences and even growth, right? If you want to get taller, right? Other things. So in order to build that muscle mass, you have to go to sleep. Right? So many people might avoid that, right? Chalk it up, you know, to a long work schedule, that they never have time to sleep. But man, if you have to, take some melatonin and go get some rest, right? Stop drinking so much coffee, so much caffeine, and get a good set of rest, and you will see that your muscles will start to get larger and build and grow. So, without further ado, those are the 4 tips in order for you to build your muscle. And as always, we say thank you very much and goodbye.